What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Mornings with the Focus. Get this out of here. Joined this morning by Justin Walters. You guys know it's on the mornings where there wasn't an NBA Finals game that was played the night before. We've been going and breaking down like positional tiers, going position by position NFL, breaking down the positions and moving players into tiers. So depending on how you feel about certain players, you either be upset, you be fine. Either way, we're open to it. And don't forget, if you are upset about it, you have a grievance, you want to talk about it, hit the comment section and we respond accordingly. So Justin, I think so far what we did QBs and running backs so far, right?
Yep.
All right, so that leads us to wide receivers. This should be fun. Let me get this so we can share the screen real quick. Because this is gonna be fun.
It's a lot of work, Chris.
Oh yeah, and kudos to you for putting that list together. And then myself and the viewers get to pick it apart. Let's go. And rearrange things accordingly. So with that said, where do you want to start? You want to start at the top of this group or at the bottom?
Let's start at the top because it's easier that way.
Okay.
It's more short things at the top. The bottom's kind of fluid, I guess.
All right, man. So wide
starting
receiver
with tier one, I think like a thing I've gotten better at, or trying to be better at with looking at receivers is just understand the situations and understand being a number one is more than its skill set and all that, but there's guys in tier two that I think may be more talented than guys in tier one, more overall physically and all that. But there's something about being a number one and producing consistently where, like a guy like Cooper Kupp, there's years I probably would have put him in 3 off of natural ability. But just watching the way he was able to dominate games and, just consistently make plays when needed, kind of hard to dispute that. So, I mean, that's just one of the things over time, you're able to separate. We all have a type. So my type is more of, honestly, it's always been like an OBJ type who can do a little bit of everything and has a specific skill set where, as just being real with the game, I think you kind of look at some of the bigger guys who, play their game the right way. And, I guess just being able to dominate the way they do. I think that's just being fair.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, and I think that's the thing a lot of folks kind of have to kind of just come to accept is that prototype was of what a wide receiver one quote unquote looks like. Yeah, they don't all look the same. Look, right. It's just as simple as, does your offense run through you? Are you carrying the weight of said offense? When push comes to shove, are you the guy? Even though the defense knows you're the guy, and are you still able to produce regardless of it, right? I think that's huge. What's going on, Sid? Yeah, it's gonna be one of the mornings, bro. It'll be one of the mornings early, starting with drama here. But all right, so just add Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Young Chase, obviously Devontae, T.Y., not T.Y., I'm sorry, Tyreek. So sorry. Mr. Diggs, Debo, and A.J. Brown were in that group. So I honestly have no issue with that group. Jamar didn't waste any time proving what he was, just like Justin Jefferson didn't waste any time. Though both of those young fellas hit the ground running, let us know exactly what time it was very quickly. And, you can look at, Tyreek got paid like that for a reason. AJ was the passing offense in Tennessee, and we watched Debo just drag a whole offense, to the postseason on his back and his legs. And before they went full running back with him, he was right there underneath Kupp, as far as doing his work as a receiver. Sid's ready to go early. Mike Evans, a.k.a. Mr. 1008 Elite.
He's above average. I think I've seen Mike Evans get taken away before by one guy, so he's had good games too. I just feel like there's a point with him where I feel like you can't say we need this completion now. We're going to Mike Evans. He makes plays and he wins, but just there's certain corners I've seen him struggle again. And then again, he's had a big game against Ramsey this year in the playoff game, but for me, he's still a one, a really high one. But when they're both healthy, Godwin's like they go to Godwin as much as they go to him. So that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
All right. I mean, we are going off last year, so I mean, he's still a one. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still a one. But yeah, obviously, probably having got one over there probably kind of takes away from it just a little bit. The way Tom doesn't really discriminate, and we all know push comes to shove, he ain't looking at neither one of them dudes when he needs something. When his boys on the field, they both come second to who. But that said, in that second group, okay, that some good names here. You got Waddle, Evans, and again, the orders, the list is not in order. Just to keep you guys, it's just about where they get grouped at. Waddle, Evans, Godwin, McLaurin, Devontae, Amari, DK. Which Allen is that? I'm sorry.
Keenan.
All right, cool. I meant to ask you that early. Keenan, DJ Moore, Mike Pittman, Sutton, OBJ. Which Robinson is that? Is it Allen?
Allen, yeah.
All right. D-Hop and Slant God. I don't think I really have the issue with
What do you think? What do you think about Pittman?
What I think about Pittman, I think you said it's an ascending one, right? I'm fine with that. I think he's probably going to act the fool with Matthew. I think, his former quarterback didn't do the greatest of jobs of getting him the ball. You said Cooper and Pittman in the same class. Said he's not messing with that.
I love Cooper as much as anybody, but I just feel like it's more of a kind of a meet in the middle. One's ascending and one's, I won't say declining, but he's kind of steady where he is. You know what I mean? I think, Cooper's one of them guys, man. I've seen him too often. I've seen him getting taken out of games, whether it's by himself mentally or it's just like, I hate to say the lack of love or passion for the game, but again, with all the natural talent, Cooper should be in the other tier. You know what I mean? That's the reality of it. But I think the other thing with hit or miss for me.
I think the other thing with Cooper is like, this is kind of where you start talking about what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like if you watch both of them, Cooper's gonna look better because naturally, if you're watching him, you're like, damn, that's what stuff's supposed to look like, right? Where Pittman's kind of like he gets it done, but you're not in awe about how he goes about his business. And it's kind of like Keenan Allen's one of them dudes with, for whatever reason, people don't put respect on how he goes about his business, even though I think it's beautiful watching Keenan Allen work. I think it's art. Some people don't, you know what I'm saying? Or for example, you got Keenan who goes about his business like that in a bigger body, and then you got DK who goes out about his business in a totally different way.
Right.
So I mean that's interesting. You got Robinson, D-Hop, and Slant God. All jokes aside, I'm looking forward to seeing him show everything he can do, because it's a fun joke. It's great. That said, he is much more than just a guy who runs slants. Like he's a damn good wide receiver that can win on all levels. And so I'm kind of looking forward to, if he's healthy this year with a quarterback that's not tripping about throwing the ball more than 15, 20 yards downfield. Like that's a big old target with a great set of hands. Like, and I think
he can separate. I mean, he can get open quick. Like it may not be running away from people, but he can create enough separation. And if Jameis ain't scared to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then you got folks like Terry that haven't played with an NFL quarterback yet over there putting up numbers, dealing with opposing teams, best DBs, and still winning in spite of, you know, having to win 2 or 3 times in one play because the quarterbacks are less than at times. Um, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like just talked about earlier, you know, in terms of what things used to look like. I think Amari would easily be sliding into that first group if we're only going off, you know, the prototypical number one, what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, you slide him up there easy. Because watching him, you're just like, damn, that's the exact way it's supposed to look like. It's the exact way you
Yeah.
want them to move, and yeah. Whereas some
If
of
he
these
had if he had
guys,
the dog, if he had the dog, the I don't want to say dog in him, but like of that top tier, like a Debo or
I
AJ.
won't even say dog, just the aggressiveness. Like them
Yeah.
dudes play with an added sense of physicality. And honestly,
Hmm.
that's sometimes, you know, it's a little lacking in this game, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
Right.
that's where I think those guys make up for it, right? Is he's a better route runner than most of that first group.
Hmm.
However, I don't think anybody has an issue when I say when all them dudes after they catch the ball, he is looking up at all of them in terms of how dangerous they are once they get the ball.
Right. Right.
They play two totally different sports after they catch the ball.
Right.
Two remotely different. It's the same sport, but it's not once they catch it. You know. All right, to that second group, and Sid, definitely let us know where you would want, you know, people that you don't agree with. Anybody else watching as well, what group you think they belong to, and I'm sure it'll help after we get through. Well, this group's a little bit longer, but where we at? So this is dominant two, average one. So I think that's Deontay Johnson, right?
Yep. Yep.
Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Cooks. Um, I,
Darnell Mooney. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
whoo boy.
Yeah, Cooks could really go in
I
too, to
think
be
Cooks
honest.
could go in that second group.
Yeah,
Not gonna
he's
lie.
definitely underrated.
So my bad. I'm a slide B Cooks out of here.
No, that's fine.
You
That's
know,
fine.
my fault. Slide him up out of here. Yeah. I think he's one of the dudes where he went to
I
go.
think he just remembered for that dumb play in the Super Bowl with that
Yeah,
Patriots year.
yep,
He kind of just that was like probably his only really bad year, that Patriots
yep.
year.
And even then, like, dude's been dumb productive the entire time. Like, he's he's what some people wish a lot of some of these little dudes that they project to being good deep threats or whatever. Like, Cooks is actually that, and people kind of pay him no mind. Like, he's a
Right.
one, and he's been dumb productive regardless of quarterbacks. He's been able to do. He's been consistent as well for most of his career. So, yeah, I definitely think Cooks belongs in that group above. So I'm glad, you know, Sid, appreciate you. Glad folks agree. Where we going right there? Deontay Johnson, boy T. Higgins, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We got Darnell Mooney, who doesn't get enough love. And hopefully now that they got an NFL type coach, maybe they can, you know, figure out that passing game. People can see what Mooney's about. Tyler Lockett, very bad man. Mike Williams. Uh, is that Emmanuel? Or who's what more is this?
Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore, my bad. Elijah Moore. Told y'all need to go back to sleep. CD, Ayuk, Claypool. That's Hollywood Brown right here.
Yeah, I'm ready to move him down already. But yeah,
Jerry Judy, DJ Chark, Will Fuller, and T.Y. Hilton. I would like to see Lockett in a different role. Um, yeah, yeah. But like them two are dynamic together. But yeah, you kind of like I definitely think Lockett could put up like you know how we're talking about Cooks and what he does. Lockett could definitely do that on it. I think on a team when he was the guy, but you know
right.
he's always been the guy next to another guy in Seattle, which ain't his
Plus,
fault.
plus with Seattle's offense is kind of became not I was running and then one dimensional in the pass game. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So he had to be a deep threat. But I think there's a lot more to his game. Like him and DK are doing the same role kind of,
mm-hmm.
but DK's louder, so they try to just different ways to get DK the ball when Locke is just as in a different way is just as tough a matchup for defense.
Yeah. No, I agree wholeheartedly. But now I definitely would like to see him. I think he would definitely excel. Like he's a problem. He is a whole problem, man. Shit, what's it called? The last 3 years, he's been over 1,000 yards the last 3 years. And this past season, 16.1 yards a reception, 8 touchdowns. Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, he can. Yeah, Tyler Lockett is a problem, but again, he is where he is, and he does what he's supposed to do. He excels at that role, and it's what if they can get that offense going or whatever. They got two very good. They got two very good pieces. I don't think anybody can argue that. You got Mike Williams on the Chargers. Yeah, the man is definitely, yeah, man. And said, like, I keep going back to this, man. Like, I think they got the governor off the offense. Buses got governors. You only go so fast. Only so many things you can do. By removing somebody, I think you get a chance to open things up, and everybody can be used, and everybody can be seen. The entire field can be seen. The entire field can be it. Defenses shouldn't all be playing where we shouldn't have any more of those things where you turn on, one of their games, and in the broadcast view, you can see the other team's entire defense. I don't think you'll be seeing that anymore. So I don't think it was really Cal as much as, yeah. But
maximizing what you had.
Yeah. I think to maximize what you had, who you had, some things had to go by the wayside because some people can only do certain things, and you're not going to ask somebody to do things they can't do. You got to get the most out of what they can do, and if that turns one of your more dynamic wide receivers into an all-time clear out guy, so be it. If it turns one of your running backs where look, man, just it's one of them things where I think both of them would be fine this year. I think a lot of things look a little bit different, even though there'd be some new wrinkles or whatever. But yeah, I don't really think too much of that was Kyle versus yeah. Mike Williams is an anomaly. Tier 1 potential, sometimes even Tier 1 production. Might give you 280 yards. Might just yeah. Mike Williams is Mike. You know what Mike Williams suffers from? The boy plays next to Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
that's it. Because like Mike Williams without Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman, right? You look at where Michael Pittman was, right? Michael Pittman may have just got somebody who's around his talent level in this draft, maybe. Outside of that, he was playing with dudes around him where I'm not counting T.Y. because T.Y. was always in and out. It was like Mike Pittman in the tight ends. For real. And now you got a different quarterback where, again, going back to the San Francisco thing, man, Matthew can see the whole field. Matthew can throw the ball to the whole field. Matthew's going to allow, things might look a little different. But yeah, Mike is a problem, man. But again, he plays with an elite separator.
Right.
Mike is a top shelf dude, and Keenan finna stay open. Death taxes, Keenan Allen is open.
Right. He's like a professional back. Like they've been running that same stuff to him since college. That's what Clemson ran. Just basically the back shoulders and go routes. And that's all you've seen from him in the pros. But I think, like I said, there's more to his game, and there's really not a big difference between him and Pittman, to be honest with you, except Pittman being younger. And again, in this group right here, there's probably 4 or 5 guys in this group that, with the season the way we expect, could go up. Deontay Johnson has tons of talent. T. Higgins and Mike Williams are actually kind of similar, and like all of them guys are pretty similar. Mooney has talent. Ayuk, I think he's right there. You just want to see a year of him. Like he has the potential, in my opinion, to be a number 1 receiver. So I just want to see. You just want to see a year with him with a quarterback who throws him the ball. I just think he's an explosive player, good runs routes and all that. So it's just, I mean, Claypool, it has flashed some crazy talent. Just getting his head right, and then getting a quarterback that can actually give him the ball.
Yeah, and that's almost like the theme for this group is you either play with somebody who was in that very top group, right? And that's what you suffer from. And so you don't get as many opportunities because the guys in that top group, they stay open regardless. They shouldn't be, but they stay open regardless, and that's why they're in that group, right? Or you're paired with somebody in that second group. So again, it's not an indictment on your talent. And then sometimes you got the third part of it, and some folks where it's all of it. Your quarterback don't know how to get you the ball.
Right.
You just need more ops, and that's you need more opportunities, and that's it. You got Hollywood. He's going more to that college type offense in Arizona. Should be good for him. I wish him the best physically in that division. Jerry Jeudy just got a quarterback. We should see him if he could stay healthy. Should be interesting. DJ is DJ. It's just health. Ain't nothing wrong with DJ Chark outside of health. Will Fuller, same thing. When he's healthy, he's a problem. He's just never really fully healthy. Ty again, like this last 4 names is just health,
right,
and availability really. All right, so moving on to solid twos, low one. We got Mr. Christian. right. Like he's nice. I don't think people get how nice he is. Like, he's in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So like they literally got really similar guys in him and Jameson. Like,
yeah.
Like low key.
Just a bigger version.
You got Jameson with bro, you got 2 versions of it. So if they can both be healthy, it shouldn't be too hard for that quarterback, regardless of who it is. Like, those are big targets that move very fast. All right, so this is a fun one. This is solid 2 low ones. Mr. I ruined the wide receiver market, aka Christian Kirk. Adam Thielen, the guy who plays next to Justin Jefferson. That is your new name. We got Juju. Hunter Renfrow, shout out to him just getting paid. Gabe Davis, yes, sir. Michael Gallup, Shot Bateman. We got Bobby Trees, Tyler Boyd, Devontae Parker, which I think, he got a chance to move himself up into that other group this year if he stay healthy because Mac already ain't got no issue throwing that boy the ball. Mr. Galladay, I'm going to let him live. Corey Davis, Jacoby Myers. Which Jones is that? Marvin Jones. All right. Then you got Kadarius Toney. Which more?
Rondell.
Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. Rondell Moore. I think this is Julio still in his ripe old age. Give him a little bit of love. Nico Collins, DPJ, Robbie Anderson, MVS, Palmer, my guy Tim Patrick, Brian Edwards, and Sammy Watkins. I don't really feel like there's anybody in this group that needs to be moved up, honestly. Like that's what I
not at all.
Comfortably say. Well, actually, I'll take that back. If Gabe Davis gives me another good year, move him up. I'm gonna try to be respectful. Give me one more good year because that's the name that jumps out to me. Like, hey, and Tyler Boyd, obviously, but bro, you're not gonna get him opportunities. He played in the office. Like, I hate to be that guy. Just the truth hurts. It's Jamar who stays open, and NT who also stays open. So you get the scraps. Said, watch my sleeper Josh Palmer do work this year.
Yeah,
I think Justin has him coming up in a little bit.
Right there.
Oh yeah, he's right there. Yeah, Josh Palmer. Yeah. All right. And Tim Patrick, I think is going to go off too. I think he could take a step, mess around with Russ. Got one of the best deep ball throwers in the league, and Tim Patrick's low key nice. Like the Broncos have a quiet, really it's a deep wide receiving core, talented and young. They just I don't know what they had under center. So we can see what happens. Sammy Watkins, he's one of them dudes we talk about in the other group. It's just health. If he's healthy and available, he's a good wide receiver in this league. Low 2, high 3. We got Jameson Crowder, Sterling Shepard, Russell Gage, Mr. Landry, Van Jefferson, my man Kendrick Bourne, Chanel, Miko Hardman, Curtis Samuel, Alan Lazard, Paris Campbell. We have Osborne, Wilson, Zay Jones, Pringle, Callaway, Slayton, Josh Reynolds, who I misspelled his name, I'm sorry, Marcus Robinson, Juwan Jennings, Duvernay, and what Watkins is that?
Quiz.
Appreciate you. Where's Watkins? The only reason I'm asking is because I'm saving all of these for after the year. We ever see Detroit style Galladay? Not in New York.
Well, you know what? You know what though? I'll say maybe not with Daniel Jones, but like looking at what the Giants are doing though, they got a team full of like guys who are gonna win horizontally. You know, bunch of little smaller. Because even like we laugh at the draft, like, yo, why'd they pick this guy? And they still got Tony, and you hear about them putting Barkley in the slot, and they got Sterling Shepard, and then they got the kid they drafted in the second round. You know what I mean? Like all fit a certain role of maybe just win your route fast so Daniel Jones get the ball out of his hand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then at some point you need somebody down the field. So between Darius Slayton, who seems to play a decent amount, and Galladay, one of them guys has to be somebody who can win down the field. Just to make the defense be somewhat honest, play somewhat honest against that group.
Yep. Then we have Alan Lazard will jump a tier this year. I mean, he has an opportunity to. Like, there's nothing but space and opportunity for the folks in Green Bay. Whether folks take advantage of it or not is a different story, but there's opportunities, and that's what's important here. We will see who makes the most of it. Because, again, ain't nothing but space and opportunity over there.
Right.
I think my man's going to make a jump to this next tier. I think both of them are, actually. Where we go? These two. I think Juwan and Duvernay make a jump to that next tier during this season.
Gonna have to.
Yeah.
Well, more so, Duvernay's gonna have to.
Yeah.
And then Jennings, I think, just opportunities to be there.
Yeah, I just think by changing quarterbacks, he's gonna be able to jump up a little bit. Honestly, just by that swap. You gotta ask Justin, man. I don't remember typing that young man's name.
Did I put him on there?
You did not.
Nah, I don't either.
I think this was a solid 3-year contributor. My bad. We got Braxton Berrios, Jose McKenzie, James Washington, Zach Pascal, Cam Sims. Okay, Zacchaeus, Nick Westbrook, Guyton, Aguilar. I know I messed up your name. I'm so sorry. Khalif Raymond. You're not going to hear me complain about that group. Group it doesn't mean much to me there. So it is what it is. Out of that group, I like Pascal. Folks are still waiting for James Washington to kind of figure out what he is on this level. And Nick Westbrook, I kind of like. Khalif Raymond's kind of tough too, but pray for a better Visca this year. Yeah, I mean, again, like they got an NFL coach, so maybe it'll help, with some direction and knowing what your role could be and how you'll be used. Like all that stuff's kind of important. Last but not least, we got some gadget upside type guys. Equinemius St. Brown, upside. Sherfield, Paris Campbell. Schwartz, I think is important for the Browns just because he can stretch the field. Like really, really stretch it. KJ Hamler, Ninja King Grant. All right, what you say, Sid? You'll be happy to know I think Jennings will make a tier jump this year. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, man, look. Justin to tell you, I've been waiting a whole year until we can get a quarterback that can use these people correctly. I feel like this, like I think he was with me. Like that's one of the most dangerous receiving groups in the league. Just nobody knows it because dude only threw in a 12-yard box. So like you got a lot of people like, oh man, they need to get a deep threat. Nah, they got like multiple deep threats. You just don't know it. They had a dude who couldn't use anybody deep. Like you can send George deep. You can send Debo. You can send Brandon. I don't know how much you've been paying attention to Juwan. Like, folks talk about Juwan. Like, Kyle called him the best separator on the team. He's just a football player. Like the testing stuff failed Juwan. Somebody messed up because they looked at the testing numbers and were like, oh, his measurables aren't that good. And football, the tape was like, oh, he's a football player. And people are like, oh, well, but he ran a 4.7. Boy, stay open.
Yeah. A thing about the 49ers guys, man, pretty much all their skill guys, is you can go to a couple different games and see where each one of them dominated. There's a couple of big games where the ball went to Jennings. In important situations, like game for y'all, like really.
What's it called? Postseason.
Or even was it the game to make the playoffs?
Yeah, Jennings was huge.
Games,
they didn't have anybody that could guard him. He had the mismatch, honestly, because of what they were doing with moving stuff to Debo. And Brandon got off early in that game. But late in that game, whatever the adjustment the Rams made on defense, it was leaving Juwan one-on-one with one of their corners, and Jimmy just kept going to Juwan. And it helps that Juwan wasn't going too far away. But yeah, on a whole bunch of out routes and just getting yacked. But look, man, there's a couple groups like that. I think the Steelers group is really dangerous.
Right.
If they could get somebody at quarterback that can get the ball to those guys.
Hey, you might be taking away our next show. We got the skill positions groups next, tiers or teams. But
I apologize, but
I agree with you though.
There's a couple teams like that where, like, I think like even in a small sample size, right? Most of the time, what comes to mind when you play the Steelers and Niners, right? Like in like last year, for example, going into the game, I got to take Chase away, right? And then even then, Deontay is over there, ready and available to cook, but the quarterback can't. The quarterback couldn't get in the ball for real.
Right.
You got a good tight end with them too. Like Freiermuth he's nice. He's not some elite dude yet, but he's a good tight end. You got a running back that can catch out the backfield. Like, bro, why was it so difficult? Just why was it so difficult, right? Got the Niners where, oh man, all we got to do is funnel everything in the middle, and he's only throwing over the middle of the field. Then meanwhile, you see that you had two very small sample sizes with not Jimmy, and the ball was going everywhere, and you didn't know what was going to happen. The targets were shared, and I think better teams, that's where they eat at with lesser players on the perimeter, because the quarterback just takes what you give them. The ball goes everywhere. Like I think in the Houston game, George only had 2 targets because Houston was like, we're going to take George away from Trey. And Trey was like, cool, take George away from me. I won't look at George. Okay, fine. So I think Brandon had 6 targets. Debo had 5 targets. Juwan had 5 targets. Freaking Juice had 3 targets. George had 2 targets. But look at what the defense chose to do. George, all they do is middle of the field. I'm sure the young kid's not going to be too much different. Young kid wasn't thinking about the middle of the field.
Right.
He was like, oh, man, sideline. Let me hit the sideline. Oh, we caught a shot play. Let me put that thing up there. Oh, look, I dropped back, going left, going middle. Shit, I still got time and the arm to take a shot to Ayuk one-on-one. I like the matchups. All that stuff that other good teams do, San Fran and the Steelers position group, like on the perimeter, them dudes haven't experienced that because of the quarterback play.
Denver either.
Like teams are loaded at that place.
Right.
But
you'll never know.
Quarterbacks were so bad.
Yeah.
And then you got people talking because people are like, oh, well, I didn't see it. Now, you didn't watch the games enough to see them have those opportunities and those opportunities be passed up. Like that's all it was. Because even on some of those clearouts last year, it was one-on-one with BA and some random dude on a post, and he cooked them, but who don't throw past 15? So it doesn't matter. And then Ben, bless his heart, the carcass of him last year, he couldn't throw that ball nowhere. Chase getting busy. Deontay was killing his matchup most of last year. And then even look at Denver. Dog, they are ready made to go. You got deep threats. You got yak dudes. You got a little bit of everything. You got a whole bunch of young separators. But quarterback with some mid. So, you said feelings on Tolbert. You talking about Jalen Tolbert? I know Justin loves him.
Likes him. to me, like watching him even before the draft, he just reminded me a ton of Gallup. So it's kind of interesting to see Dallas pick him. And again, it's just the place you put him. I mean, because obviously you're talking, fantasy or whatever the case may be. I think Dallas is so stale with the offense. You're going to see him on one side. So I think early in the season, they'll probably just put him right in Gallup's spot. And then Lamb will probably play inside. And he's going to make plays because he's like one of those guys that's like a mid-sized guy that's kind of all-purpose, but he's going to win more with vertical routes, stop routes, that type of thing, some contested catch stuff. So again, I think he's going to be a solid player. Not a 1,000-yard guy or like that, but maybe like 50, 60 catches, 800-900 yards, like that type of guy.
Yeah, no, I think, and again, like I think that's going to be a lot of it, man, across the league. Is just, like what's it called? Allen Robinson going to act a fool this year if he stays healthy. Like I think people really forgot who he was because he's never played with a good quarterback. He's still waiting, and not to knock whatever happened last year with Justin or whatever. Like I'm not counting that, man. That was a show the whole way, for all parties involved. But yeah, you're pairing. Think about what we thought of Allen Robinson coming out of Jacksonville, right? And you're pairing that with Cooper Kupp.
Right.
And Van Jefferson is the automatic forgotten guy. Like, there's going to be some really good wide receiver groups. What you have in Miami is more than just the two speedsters.
Right.
Like, it's going to be fun. New England has a really interesting group that I think nobody cares about. It's going to be one of the better groups in the league if they stay healthy and McCorkle takes advantage of it. And I trust McCorkle to be McCorkle. Just by him being himself, to take advantage of it. I think having, like, it's a better fit than what Miami had where you had too many of the same pieces or whatever, right? Over there, it's a little bit different. KB's a nice compliment to Devontae. And then you bring in Tyquan with the bye-bye with the meat. That's exactly what you want because it's like, it's one thing to be like, hey, I want a guy who stretches the field. It's another thing where I have to respect the dude who glides at 4.2. When he comes off the line, it's at 4.2. Death taxes, and that boy moves that fast. So you can play if you want to, or you can honor it. So again, going back to the whole thing where if he's the clear out guy, long as McCorkle's willing to let that thing go a couple times, bro, Devontae's getting one-on-ones. KB's getting one-on-ones. The tight ends are gonna, you got two good tight ends. It'd be interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know where he ends up going.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm saying Devontae, we don't even know what he is because the last 2 years have only been his role has just been the contested throw. I mean, they just could throw the ball. The pick the tight end as well, but it was just they were just gonna drop back and throw it up, and there was no real no read, no nothing. It was just gonna throw it up, and he made some catches, some ridiculous catches. So I think there was more to him. I mean, the dude was a first round pick, so it wasn't just back shoulders or contested jump balls. And then so we're talking about OBJ.
Yeah, Devontae got some stuff with him.
Sure.
I think people don't really like Devontae's. I think Devontae and Allen Robinson finna have fun because I think people really forgot what they have, and those are two dudes in bigger bodies who aren't stiff.
Right.
They're not stiff movers at all. They might not be, they're not what's it called? Straight line. They're not super fast. Both of them dudes can separate and win vertically.
Right.
However you want them to win, they're agile enough to win. So it's kind of like what have you done for me lately? Some people forgetting. I think Devontae can show out. Like they might have got a couple good wide receivers over there in New England.
Right.
Honestly. You got OBJ. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where he ends up. You know what? I'll say this about OBJ, right? With the Saints, I think it's hard to get players to leave some coaches. I think it's gonna be hard to leave McVay.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just being real honest. I think it's gonna be real hard. Like I think people take for granted the relationships some coaches have with their players. Like there's a couple places in the league where people need to start looking into that relationship because I think it's going to be huge, especially as the money goes up. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be huge. It really is.
Right. Also with the Saints, the thing I wonder is there's too much things that they're to be unsure of. You got new coaches. You got, Jameis coming back from injury. You got a lot of questions over there. It's not, they weren't even a playoff team last year. I think for him, I mean, you could put him on about 6 to 8 teams, and it changes that team. You know what I mean? That team's future. I mean, like if you put him on Green Bay, you put him on Kansas City, like different teams like that. If you put him there, he changes the balance of power. Like some of these teams can go from being we're hoping something breaks to having a guy that can be your number one with that quarterback. You know what I mean? But again, it sounded like he really enjoyed being with the Rams, and he was on his way to winning Super Bowl MVP in my opinion. Anyway.
Oh yeah, before the injury, he was on his way. He was definitely about to put up a huge game because they had nobody for him. The other thing is like with the Saints, and maybe they still do it. I don't know, but to me, it negates the trade up to go get Olave. To me, if you bring, to me, it makes it. I'm not saying you have a chance to get OBJ, you shouldn't. However, in this case, if you get him and he's healthy, let's be honest, man. You about to put Olave, you about to be looking at Olave more than you look at him, Jarvis, the slant guy. No, you.
But how many teams are there that he goes to where he's not the best receiver in the team? I mean, I'm not saying number one because you have a number one.
But that's what I'm saying. He's affecting the depth chart. Like there's he's just the fourth guy. Yeah, then he gets out there on the field and he's not the fourth guy. Somebody got moved down. And I think that's what's going to happen to Olave. But again, you can do it. That's your business. I'm not mad at you. I'm not going to tell you don't add one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. I'm just saying, I think he might not go to the Saints.
Right.
But
I agree.
That's their business. Maybe they feel like, we're going to make a run. The more the merrier. It is what it is. And, that's a place where they got enough talent. He can there's no pressure to come back. But I think it's the same on the Rams. I personally think I don't think he's leaving the Rams. I think like they just cleared a little bit of cap space, give him some time to clear a little bit more. And he'll come to terms with the money or whatnot.
Right. And plus you figure he's out at least the first 6 to 8 weeks probably anyway. So
yeah. Yep. This is very true. So I mean, you have anything else, Sid? Before we get out of here? So I guess what group's up next? I know what's it called? It's Friday, so we won't see you guys till Monday. Actually, yeah, we won't see you guys till Monday. You got game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. Right now, Boston is up 2-1. We'll see how where things go from there. By the time we talk to you guys Monday morning, things could be over. Things could not. I don't know because actually, let me check. I don't know what's game 5 would be. I am not sure. Okay, take that back. Game 5 would be Monday. So yeah, things won't be over. I'll say that they can't be over yet. So, but yeah, Monday we will definitely be able to talk. We'll talk. We'll see what's going on. We should talk. Move to the tight end group, which should be. I mean, what you want it to be, Sid? You can let us know where you want us to go.
Yeah.
You've been here every day for it, so bring some friends back. But just let us know where you want to go with it, and we should be able to do that.
All right, I got whatever you guys want. Okay. If not, I'll try to hit it this weekend.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you don't answer, Sid, it's up to Justin. We don't know where that man is about to go with it, so go anywhere for it. We can end up at defensive tackles or something Monday if y'all don't speak up. So we'll see what happens. Appreciate y'all tuning in this morning. We'll be back again. Because tomorrow morning I gotta be an adult tomorrow morning for a little bit. So see you guys on Monday. Again, appreciate y'all tuning in. Don't forget, always get on the comment section. We start every morning sometime between 9:30 and 10 a.m. here with Mornings with the Focus. He said I'll text Justin this weekend. Man, okay. That's fine. And again, said bring some friends around next time. It's okay. They are all welcome. Y'all have